Puzzle & Dragons Z plus Puzzle & Dragons Super Mario Bros. Edition is a 2-game package for North America that is based on the mobile free-to-play game Puzzle & Dragons. For this 3DS exclusive version, the free-to-play aspect has been thankfully jettisoned. In addition, stories, overworlds, and in some cases, towns and non-player characters, known as NPCs, to interact with have been added. The basic idea behind both games is pretty simple, especially if you've ever seen or played a Match 3 style game like Bejeweled, Candy Crush Saga, or any of the myriad clones of these. Build and develop teams to take into dungeons where you will do battle against many different creatures in an effort to clear said dungeons. Attacks and health recovery are performed by matching 3 or more colored orbs found on the bottom screen. On each turn, you have about 5 seconds to drag one orb to try and create 1 or more matches. Now, for each set of 3 or more matches, the monster or monsters of that corresponding color will attack, with attack boosts coming from creating multiple matches and matching more than 3 orbs. If you match up hearts, these will recover your team's collective health, which is good because if it drops to 0, you're defeated and must leave the dungeon to try again, unless you want to burn continues. While the 2 games share most core mechanics, there are some notable differences. In fact, when you go to the game select screen, you're given the option of Puzzle & Dragons Z and Puzzle & Dragons Super Mario Bros. Edition, and there's a sentence or two describing which each game is about. It'll even say, on the intro screen, if you've never played Puzzle & Dragons before, it recommends you start with the Super Mario Bros. Edition. It's a little bit more streamlined. Like you obviously know the story. The world navigation will look familiar. The universe has been integrated quite well, and it doesn't have some of the more complex aspects of the Puzzle & Dragons Z version of the game. Now, that's not to say it's easier. It certainly isn't. But I struggled mightily once I started to get to the end of World 2. But it just doesn't have the overall story the Puzzle & Dragons Z does, and obviously Puzzle & Dragons Z being the quote-unquote more proper version of the game, not really a spin-off like the Super Mario Bros. Edition, you can see the difference. Puzzle & Dragons Z feels a bit like Pokemon with the overall story, but not as deep in the activities. And it's a bit more complex, as I mentioned before. Now, I've never been a fan of Match 3 games that are just doing Match 3 over and over, my on and off relationship with Candy Crush notwithstanding. However, I do like it when it's part of something bigger, which this Puzzle & Dragons package delivers. It adds the team building and leveling up of RPGs, role-playing games, which makes it a much more substantial game. And don't let the early parts of the game and their relative ease fool you. This game packs a punch if you don't use the right teams in battle. Those easy 3-color plus hearts dungeons soon give way to 4 and 5-color plus heart dungeons. And as any Match 3 player will tell you, it's a lot harder to make those chaining combos when there are more colors in play. Is the Match 3 mechanic repetitive after a while? Yes, since it's probably how you'll spend the majority of the game, and over a massive number of levels and worlds, you may find yourself needing to take a break or two from time to time. Sure, the amount of content in the game is great value, there's a ton of it in there, but it won't lend itself well to binge play, I don't think. I enjoyed it best, I found, when I'd play a few dungeons at a time, leave, and come back later. If your kids are into Pokemon games, other simple RPGs and Match 3 games, there's a lot to like in this game for them. And as far as how appropriate the content is, I'd compare the Puzzle & Dragons Z version to be similar to Pokemon, and the SMB, the Super Mario Bros. Version, similar to other Mario games. All in all, Puzzle & Dragons Z plus Puzzle & Dragons Super Mario Bros. Edition is 2 good games in one great package that will provide dozens of hours of content with more on the way. It's a deep game that doesn't feature the annoying microtransactions of its free-to-play originator, and it's great for gamers of almost any age. If you're looking for a little more puzzling in your role-playing games, this one's worth a look.